I'm Jonathan Shuttlesworth, and I've met a lot of pastors on the road that wanted to have a revival, but weren't sure how to go about setting it up. So I wanted to do this video to tell you a couple things. Number one, I'm sure you see somebody flying around in a jet and think, what is the enormous expense to have you come to our church? The answer is, it's zero. Acts 20:34, the Apostle Paul said, I've always taken care of my expenses and the expenses of those who travel with me. We have no minimum requirements. We have no honorarium. Our team is taken care of by us. We book our own hotels. I've done that my whole traveling ministry. All we do is receive a love offering as Paul instructed in the Bible. That's it. We're not under any financial pressure, and we don't put you under any financial pressure. Secondly, what I do is a little different than what a lot of other traveling ministries do. We don't do conferences and we don't do ticketed events. I don't generally do one-night meetings. I like revivals. I like seeing a church explode with the power of God. Sinners get saved. As the week goes on, sinners bring more people. And really, you can see 10 years of church work accomplished in 1 week of a strong revival meeting. That's what I like to see done. I don't care about the size of the church. I care about seeing God hit the place. And whatever you start with, seeing it multiply. So what does it take for me to come to your church if you're interested? An invitation. So the information for an invitation is on the screen. I look forward to hearing from you, genuinely. If you're a pastor and you want to see God shake your region, I will partner with you in that. I want to see that happen. So I'll look forward to hearing from you and meeting you this year.
From the very beginning, life has been written in blood, a scarlet thread running through history, declaring life, redemption, and victory. We were lost, drowning in the darkness of our sin, carrying burdens we couldn't unload, weighed down by the guilt no human effort could ever erase. But then came Jesus, the promised sacrifice, the Lamb of God. On a hill, the cross stood tall, and from it, he poured his life for us. His blood, perfect, innocent, unblemished, was shed willingly. That brutal, horrific moment became the most victorious act in all of history. This blood doesn't just cover our sin, it obliterates it. It doesn't just forgive, it transforms. It invades the darkest corner of our lives, shouting hope where there was none, and injecting strength into the weary. Every drop proclaims freedom, healing, and resurrection life. Through the blood of the Lamb, we are no longer slaves to sin, no longer victims of our past. We are transformed.
The devil is the author of sin. The devil is the author of addiction. The devil's the author of depression. There's not going to be any suicide hotline in heaven. There's no cancer centers in the New Jerusalem. Those things came from the devil. But Jesus didn't just come to forgive our sins and wipe our sins clean. For this reason was the Son of God made manifest, that he might destroy the work of the devil. That's what I want to get on the inside of you tonight. God's not going to help you deal with your problem. God's going to destroy the thing that was sent to destroy you. If I was you, I'd get excited. You're getting set free tonight. Your days of defeat are over in Jesus' name. This is the time of your rapid acceleration in the face of the devil. The devil's going to find out that 2,000 years ago, he got his butt kicked on the cross of Jesus Christ. We have the victory. His name is victory. Victory.
You have to fight a socket. You have to fight a socket. When people think you are finished, you are just beginning. When you sacrifice, it shuts the mouth of the devil. Shout, he is my Jesus. He's my healer. Something is about to happen.
You gotta believe that you're fully equipped. You gotta believe that you have everything pertaining to life and godliness. You gotta believe that you've got joy. You gotta believe that you've got healing. You gotta believe that you've got strength. Because if God intervenes, that's all I need.
It's like the pastor will tell me when I go preach somewhere. We had 6 visiting pastors tonight. And I'll say, was it this guy? Yeah. This guy? Yeah. This guy? Yeah. This guy? This guy? And this guy, yeah, how'd you know? Was it a word of knowledge? No, I found the 6 most disinterested people in the meeting. This isn't important, but did both these guys realize this was not an audio-only podcast, that they were going to be live on camera? Have things gotten so bad at the Assemblies of God that that's your set? Guys, we're going to build a set. We have a budget of $91. So here's 91 $1 bills. Go to IKEA. It looks like both of those guys just finished assembling the furniture and then sat down. What are you wearing? What are you saving your good clothes for? He said, that's great, son. He said, if you read your Bible through every year till you're 16, I'll buy you a car. Well, my favorite program at the time was Knight Rider. So I thought I was going to get a talking car with missiles that could like jump over other cars. If I knew I was getting a 1989 Chevy Lumina with bad gears, I might have not been as motivated. That little tree's a nice touch there. Do you think there's too much white on the set? Yeah, maybe. Don't spend too much, but just maybe get like a little tree. So for many years, Abram had to go around telling people, God made him say it. Hello, I'm the father of many nations. Oh, that's great. Where are your children? None yet. I see your grandmother over there. Where's your young wife that's going to have you all the kids? No, that's her. Are you sure? She looks like the Quaker Oats guy. No, that's her.
And in the Gospel of John, you have 7 signs pointing to who Jesus is.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if you're going to have a guy that boring, maybe liven up the set. You got that guy talking with a white wall in the background. Like, literally, make you want to throw yourself out this window, but it's on the first floor, so I would just scratch myself in the bushes. I'm just reading what's there. It is a bad thing to oppose the worship of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Even the churches that have worked against us since we've been pastoring in Pittsburgh, have you ever heard me bring them up or cause them any problem? Did we ever have the youth group go and put dog poo in a brown paper bag and light it on fire and ring the church doorbell? I'm not saying the thought didn't cross my mind. That's why it's coming out of my heart right now. But the point is, we never did it.
The Sabbath is not the day to do that.
Pause.
So it's on this.
Should play this video in Guantanamo Bay to get confessions out of terrorists. He's in cave 12. Just stop it. Continue.
This is the image that comes to mind. I'm going to nerd out one more time. Just forgive me. One of my favorite movie scenes is from Lord of the Rings. And if you've seen Lord of the Rings, you'll know what I'm talking about.
How old are you?
There's the Palace of Gondor.
And I bent over and picked my pajamas up off the bed, and when I looked up, there was an angel on the other side of the bed. That's the last one I've seen. So I know some people on Christian TV go to heaven 9 times a day and stuff. God bless them.
That if lit, will light up other fires along the way that will call for aid, is a line uttered by another character named Gandalf, who's all the way back at the first beacon.
You gotta be freaking kidding.
Gandalf sees the fire being lit, and as soon as he sees the second one, something else that's interesting, and this is where I'm going to kind of nerd out a little bit, so forgive me if you're not this kind of...
Holy moly. Okay. So we're going to lose the tough guy talk and nerd out. Let's go. Some of you have received these 10 days. Everybody you know that isn't a Christian thought it was great you were going to church, and the only people you had to hear crap from were other believers. I watched a little of that last night. He said crap. I had to turn it off. I've never heard such language in my whole life. Then you got to hear this guy. My son and I had strep throat. Gee, just goes to show you, no matter how much you take care of yourself, anything can happen. The balls to talk about, like, you can already tell what direction this is headed in. Why doesn't God heal everybody? We were actually going to talk about healing, but I had strep throat and had to cancel. You know, let's put the mirror on us. Perhaps when you go to Raising Cane's for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you could contract a health problem or two. Yeah, but it's not your fault. Eat all you want, carry 55 pounds of visceral fat around your stomach, and then wonder why God doesn't heal. This is what this is about. If you went out to eat with me after today, and said, now, how did that grow like that? I was, well, what we do is we hired a digital marketing team. In fact, if anything, my Instagram works against me. I never had one person here say, I came because of your Instagram. I had
Canadian boomers voting for Infinity Bermulians to make sure the value of their house doesn't slightly drop. Look at this graph, it's truly incredible. Out of everything, the cost of living, making housing affordable, making Canada a better place to live. Boomers' #1 priority, hating Donald Trump. Canadian Zoomers, I can't get a job, I have no way to ever afford a house, and my government is importing millions of foreigners. We must stop this and make our country a better place to live. Canadian boomers, Donald Trump is a fascist. Boomers experienced 10 years of Trudeau turmoil.
We like to say people kind.
Record inflation, a housing crisis. The country being deluged by third world migrants.
Since 2020, there has been a threefold increase in the migration of Indians to Canada, and they are now approaching the 4 million mark. This is what Toronto looks like now.
And then respond in unison with, yep, let's have some more of that, please. A migrant population of around 30% on the low end. Some say 45%. Over 1 million entering year on year. Native Canadians a minority in their own country by 2041. And they voted for more of the same. A decade of unadulterated woke madness under Trudeau.
Too woke? Hey.
They vote in a leader who has a they-them kid. Years of nightmare lockdowns, mask mandates, and mandatory vaxxers that turned their own population into enemies of the state.
This is not a peaceful protest.
And they go and vote for the same party that inflicted it all on them. Major European countries literally going dark because of net zero. And they vote in one of the leading proponents of it to run their country.
Look, we can't stabilize the climate unless we get to net zero.
They voted for Trudeau 2.0 because they didn't like Orange Man making fun of them. Their country's going to the dogs, their kids have no future. And boomers turn out in full force to empower the status quo because they're worried about Trump.
David, just to show the viewers how it differs, just click on there on baby boomers.
Okay, so now we're saying this is all respondents, this is just people who are boomers. What do they think is the top issue?
Canada-U.S. relations. So you see one of the reasons why older people are voting for the Liberal Party.
How boomers decide to vote. No immigration, save our country, low cost of living, affordable housing, wages increase, value of house goes up by 1%. Boomers. This won. Despite Trump suggesting Canadians should vote for the Conservatives, Pierre Poilievre desperately begged him to stay out of the election. As Ground News' bias comparison shows, the majority of stories covering this leaned left, with The Independent even suggesting that Trump is happy the Conservatives lost due to Poilievre's last-minute denouncement of him. The left also seems happy that the first thing Carney did upon winning is to bash Trump. This is why I've partnered with Ground News for years now. They're the only website and app showing me the full picture on the most important issues. By gathering news from across the political spectrum, then breaking down each source's political lean and financial backing, I can see the world as it is, not as their biases want me to see it. See it for yourself at ground.news/PJW via the link down below, or scan the QR code on screen. Ground News has helped dissipate all the overwhelming clutter on my social media. Instead of endlessly scrolling, trying to figure out what's important and what's spin, they show me the truth in one clear format. Best part is, Ground News isn't a new tool that you have to learn. They're a better.
The following program contains political discourse, opinions, and footage that many viewers may find offensive. It should not be viewed by anyone ever.
So you made a way across the great divide, left behind heaven's throne to build it here inside. And there at the cross, you paid the debt I owe, broke my chains, freed my soul. For the first time I had hope.
What would you do if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out on me?
In a time not so far removed, the world seemed a bit simpler, at least through the eyes of a kid growing up in the heart of America. Back then, we had something special. A culture where freedom of expression wasn't just allowed, it was celebrated. Making fun of each other wasn't about malice, and it usually wasn't even mean. It was a rite of passage, a way to laugh about our differences, unifying us through humor. Sure, there were bullies, but they played an important role. By pushing us, they taught us to push back, to stand up for ourselves, to fight for what we believed in. A clever comeback was like a right hook with a smile.
You play ball like a girl!
It was all part of growing up and learning life lessons that molded our character. Everyone got their turn, and it was worth it. But as time went on, people got lazy. They got soft. The culture went woke, and suddenly everything was offensive. Every joke had to be justified, and the spontaneity of youth was replaced with caution. Our carefree spirit replaced by the twisted calculations of political correctness. Victimhood became a virtue, and cancel culture reigned supreme. Then a miracle happened. God stepped in, and we, the people, stood up. We elected a new president, a leader who promised to bring back the laughter, the color, the soul. This president, with a nod to the past, aims to make our culture great again, a pledge to reignite the magic of yesteryears.
Mr. Donald! Oh my God!
Not just bringing back jobs, but bringing back the joy of unapologetic humor.
This ain't Johnny Carson, motherfucker.
The freedom of expression without the fear of offense. Now we're seeing a renaissance. The music is getting louder again, the colors brighter, and the laughter, well, it's starting to sound a lot like it used to. Maybe it's not a return to the past, but a rebirth of the spirit that made those times so special. So here we are, standing at the crossroads of nostalgia and revival, looking forward to what's next with the same hopeful eyes we had when we first watched the world through the window of our childhood. And maybe, just maybe, we're learning that the best parts of our past can still light the way for our future. And maybe we're about to enter a new golden age, a golden age where the wonder years start now.
Let me ask you a question. Does the technology exist within our federal government and intelligence agencies to censor an individual across multiple platforms and the internet, utilizing existing technology? The answer is yes, it does exist. It's called PRISM, and the NSA has it. And this technology has the ability to identify an individual across multiple websites and applications, silence them, hide them, or make them difficult to find if it so sees fit. What if someone were to be added to this list for the purposes of censorship? What would be the signs? People following you, not being able to access your account, posts disappearing, randomly logged out of accounts, constantly. Glitches through multiple platforms in different ways that don't happen for other accounts. Weird, isn't it? What if this technology that the NSA has had the ability to hide entire topics on the internet, and that this technology not only could access the ability to censor and hide this content, it could do so without being caught by the websites. It could access it and hide you from the world without you even knowing it, without them being able to detect it. What if it has the ability to amplify messaging on a particular topic across multiple platforms and the entire internet? Would that happen? Would they do that? Would they do that with George Floyd? Cause riots and chaos? It has the ability to hide entire narratives or amplify, make you famous overnight, make you irrelevant in the same amount of time if they wanted. Many people blame X. I'm not so sure it's X anymore. There's too many signs. You can see it, and it doesn't make sense. You can feel it. Do you believe that there are people that are so good in our government, that they're so principled, that they wouldn't exploit something that gives you almost total control over global thought? I'm sharing this information with you because most of you are individuals. You are a person, and if a person is locked in this matrix, you will begin to think that you're inconsequential, that you don't matter, that people don't agree with you, that they don't like you, they don't like what you're saying, and it chips away at your self-belief and self-esteem. They can isolate you, they can single you out, and it makes it easier to psyop you. You notice discrepancies in the matrix because they don't have the technology to replace God, and they don't have AI sophisticated enough to replace your intuition. No matter what they do, no matter what they try, they can't get rid of that. They can't break people like that. That's why they've tried to turn people away from faith, because your faith and your discernment and your intuition make you more impervious to their psyops. And that's why they've been trying to hide and destroy Christianity. They don't want you to see the truth.
What we're doing is we're building a tremendous foundation for the future.
In a country of fading industries, one leader forged a new economic empire. In just 100 days, President Trump has ignited a new era of American prosperity. He brought giants to the table, and he is going to rebuild the American dream. Every handshake, every dollar, a promise kept to the American worker. The future is ours. America's golden age begins now.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the best seat in the House, I can tell you, America's heart is still beating strong. In just 100 days, President Trump did what they said couldn't be done. He stopped the invasion, crushed the bureaucratic waste, brought prices down, and put America first, where she belongs. He fought for peace when the world was rushing toward war. He gave this country back to you. And make no mistake, folks, the American spirit is roaring back. With every bit of my soul, thank you, President Trump. God bless you. And God bless this land of freedom we so love.
There's not a snowball's chance in hell that Canada will ever be the 51st state.
What say you, Mr. American Ambassador?
Canada, go!
Show my solidarity to those that are going through the what some are calling the death of a nation, but I don't agree. You know, not that anyone's here to hear me editorialize about Canadian politics, but I will tell all my Canadian friends, when Obama beat, who did he beat the first time? Mitt Romney? No, John McCain. When he beat John McCain, the conservatives were devastated. They were pretty much under the impression that a Muslim had been elected as president. And you'd have thought Jesus died in the church the next Sunday. But looking back on it, would you have wanted John McCain to win? Would you have wanted Mitt Romney to win? So it can be a blessing in disguise that you get a little more short-term pain that creates a platform for an actual conservative leader. Because you don't have, I know it was conservative against liberal in Canada. You don't have any conservatives. You have less liberal and extremely liberal. And so I think it's good the way things worked out. Easy for me to say living down here, but I wouldn't give up on Canada yet. Today, grading Trump's first 100 days, major news on tariffs, Canada election breakdown, Pam Bondi's threat isn't empty, ? Let's check the news. President Trump's first 100 days were legendary. Roll it.
The golden age of America begins right now. Our recent election is a mandate to completely and totally reverse a horrible betrayal. I was saved by God to make America great again. I will sign a series of historic executive orders. With these actions, we will begin the complete restoration of America and the revolution of common sense.
Next.
America's decline is over. I will declare a national emergency at our southern border.
Pause. 1.6 billion for North Carolina flood victims, which the news didn't cover at all. Continue.
I will also declare a national energy emergency. We will drill, baby, drill. I will direct all members of my cabinet to marshal the vast powers at their disposal to defeat what was record inflation and rapidly bring down costs and prices. Instead of taxing our citizens to enrich other countries, we will tariff and tax foreign countries to enrich our citizens. I will also sign an executive order to immediately stop all government censorship and bring back free speech to America. Never again will the immense power of the state be weaponized to persecute political opponents.
We actually have 4 locations.
America will reclaim its rightful place as the greatest, most powerful, most respected nation on earth, inspiring the awe and admiration of the entire world. If we work together, there is nothing we cannot do and no dream we cannot achieve. The American people have spoken.
Great job. Next. Commerce Secretary Lutnick on auto tariff relief. All cars finished in U.S. with 85% domestic content will have 0 tariffs. U.S. car makers will receive 15% offset value of vehicles against parts import. So this is partially the Trump administration realizing it is impossible to do what they set out to do, which is break down current supply chains and just immediately start having all cars manufactured in the United States. You can't build a factory in 2 days. And you can't start making cars in 2 months at a factory. So it takes time. So they're kind of backing off a little bit on the harshness of it. Next. Just in, Carolyn Leavitt announced the Trump administration will begin prosecuting state officials who violate federal law and allow men and women's sports. Roll it.
Same thing with men in women's sports. The president signed a very strong executive order, making it the policy of the United States federal government that there are only 2 sexes, male and female, and we are not going to tolerate biological men competing in sports or impeding in private spaces for women like myself or you. And we've seen states defy this federal order. You've seen the state of Maine, unfortunately, because of their liberal governor, who nobody in that state disagrees with, I will add, being from New England, I can attest to that. People are incredibly fed up with her trying to oppose this common sense message. You've seen young women who have had to go on television to plead with their governor, please stop letting men play against me in sports. We shouldn't live in a country where that even has to happen. The president deeply understands that. That's why he signed that EO. And when Maine decided not to follow it, the Department of Justice sued them. So anyone who disobeys federal law will be either prosecuted, sued, or say goodbye to your federal funding.
Next. Sorry to be a doomer, but Canada's finished. Has this been played yet?
I've played the first minute, 2 minutes.
All right, this is Paul Joseph Watson. I haven't watched it yet. I'm not saying Canada's finished. I heard all the same stuff when Obama got elected, when Biden beat Trump. You remember when Biden beat Trump in 2020? Elections are rigged. There'll never be another Republican that wins office. Now they're going to import all the illegals, and they have the votes they need to make America permanently blue. 4 years later, the exact opposite happens. I'd be careful to overreact. But having said that, here's someone overreacting. Roll it.
Canadian boomers voting for infinity Bemolians to make sure the value of their house doesn't slightly drop. Look Look at this graph, it's truly incredible. Out of everything, the cost of living, making housing affordable, making Canada a better place to live. Boomers' #1 priority, hating Donald Trump. Canadian Zoomers, I can't get a job, I have no way to ever afford a house, and my government is importing millions of foreigners. We must stop this and make our country a better place to live. Canadian Boomers, Donald Trump is a fascist. Boomers experience 10 years of Trudeau turmoil.
We like to say people kind.
Record inflation, a housing crisis. The country being deluged by third world migrants.
Since 2020, there has been a threefold increase in the migration of Indians to Canada, and they are now approaching the vermilion mark. This is what Toronto looks like now.
And then respond in unison with, yep, let's have some more of that, please. A migrant population of around 30% on the low end. Some say 45%. Over 1 million entering year on year. Native Canadians a minority in their own country by 2041. And they voted for more of the same. A decade of unadulterated woke madness under Trudeau.
Too woke?
Hey. They vote in a leader who has a they-them kid. Years of nightmare lockdowns, mask mandates, and mandatory vaxxers that turned their own population into enemies of the state.
This is not a peaceful protest.
And they go and vote for the same party that inflicted it all on them. Major European countries literally going dark because of net zero. And they vote in one of the leading proponents of it to run their country.
Look, we can't stabilize the climate unless we get to net zero.
They voted for Trudeau 2.0 because they didn't like Orange Man making fun of them. Their country's going to the dogs, their kids have no future. And boomers turn out in full force to empower the status quo because they're worried about Trump.
David, just to show the viewers how it differs, just click on there on baby boomers.
Okay, so now we're saying this is all respondents. This is just people who are boomers. What do they think is the top issue?
Canada-U.S. relations. So you see one of the reasons why older people are voting for the Liberal Party.
How boomers decide to vote. No immigration, save our country, low cost of living, affordable housing, wages increase, value of house goes up by 1%. Boomers. This won. Despite Trump suggesting Canadians should vote for the Conservatives, Pierre Poilievre desperately begged him to stay out of the election. As Ground News' bias comparison shows, the majority of stories covering this leaned left, with The Independent even suggesting that Trump is happy the Conservatives lost due to Poilievre's last-minute denouncement of him. The left also seems happy that the first thing Carney did upon winning is to bash Trump. This is why I've partnered with Ground News for years now. They're the only website and app showing me the full picture on the most important issues. By gathering news from across the political spectrum, then breaking down each source's political lean and financial backing, I can see the world as it is, not as their biases want me to see it. See it for yourself at ground.news/PJW via the link down below, or scan the QR code on screen. Ground News has helped dissipate all the overwhelming clutter on my social media. Instead of endlessly scrolling, trying to figure out what's
Thanks,
important
Pastor Jack.
and what's spin, they show me the truth in one clear format. Best part is, Ground News isn't a new tool that you have to learn. They're a better version of the doom scrolling you're already doing.
TPP on YouTube, who if I remember right, does live. Turn me up on the thing, not in the house. TPP, who I believe lives in Canada, he said not one pastor or religious leader stood up for Canada in this election. All we heard from pulpits are crickets chirping. Well, I can't say whether that's true or not. I don't know. Okay, let's take it a step further. Who is a national voice in church in Canada? I don't hear anybody from Canada that is like looking to have a national platform. I didn't hear anybody speak out against anything. It's like people play it safe and duck their head, which was the case down here for a long time too. And that is a problem. Keep going.
At their blind spot feed, you'll see how many supposedly neutral outlets actually lean left, and why they adopt certain narratives for particular stories. I've never felt more informed and ahead of breaking news. Ground News has truly become an invaluable tool in helping shape my daily news digest. And after reading your comments, I know you'd benefit too. So I got my viewers 40% off the same unlimited access Vantage plan I've been using. Just go to ground.news/PJW or scan the QR code on screen. That's just $5 a month to think for yourself with clarity and context. And since we've all got that one friend who only shares news from BBC or CNN, you can save the debate and send my link instead. Ground News is independently owned and subscriber funded, which means their sole mission is to hold the media accountable. Be part of that fight by going to ground.news/PJW.
Going to make them more hostile to us and possibly
I'd rather deal with a liberal than a
for China closer to Canada, and that would really put us in a bind.
The conservative that's running is stupidly no friend of mine. I don't know him, but he said negative things. So when he says negative things, I couldn't care less. I think it's easier to deal, actually, with a liberal.
Was Poilievre throwing away a 25-point lead purely Donald Trump's fault? Even after attacking Trump on the eve of the election, then losing anyway, Poilievre gave a pathetically cooked concession speech in which he immediately groveled to and sided with the liberals to stop Trump.
So I would like to congratulate Prime Minister Carney on leading this minority government. We will always put Canada first as we stare down tariffs and other irresponsible threats from President Trump. Conservatives will work with the Prime Minister and all parties with the common goal of defending Canada's interests.
Did Poilievre actually put the hours in? Or was he satisfied that that apple eating clip?
This guy, you should be happy he didn't win. He is a stone cold loser. He was an 85% to 15% favorite 4 months ago in the election on the gambling websites, and ran a campaign that flipped it to 85-15 for his opponent. Look at him. He's like Diet Mitt Romney, Canada Mitt Romney. So I wouldn't be too upset that you think he was going to change anything. Guy's a straight up loser. Keep going.
Would resonate with enough young voters to get them to turn out for him. They didn't turn out. Before his victory, Trump did every major podcast under the sun, exposing himself to millions of young voters. What did Poilievre do? Cosplayed as a Sikh to pander to a minority of people who were never going to vote for him anyway. But I still just can't get past how easily boomers are brainwashed by legacy media narratives. They see violent crime increase in their country by over 43% under Trudeau. Then vote, not because they're scared by that. No, because they're scared by Trump's tariffs and him trolling them on Truth Social, when either the Liberals or Conservatives would have just done a trade deal with Trump anyway. They see this happening to their cities. And vote in a guy who's vowed to continue mass migration at already vastly too high pre-pandemic levels. I'm sorry, I know it's a doomer cliche. I know it's demoralising. And I really hope someone can convince me otherwise in the comments. But can we really conclude anything other than the fact that Canada is finished? If you value what I do and you want to help support me, please.
Heard you the first time. Tariffs, not taxes. Have we played this? Roll it.
Did you know that before 1913, the government didn't rely on taxing your income? Instead, it was funded by tariffs, fees placed on goods from abroad. This system supported one of the most prosperous eras for everyday Americans and our nation as a whole. Tariffs protected American jobs, industries, and our economy without raiding our paychecks. It's time to rethink what works best for America. And that's tariffs, not taxes.
Trump flirting with the idea again of taking away taxes for all Americans, not just 150,000 or less. Next. Jack said, does any minister in Canada have a large platform at all? That's the thing. It's not just that you have to stand up for Canada. It's that you have to develop a ministry that has a national voice by the power that it carries. And Canada used to have a ton of that. Revival Today app, our biggest app update yet. We have live chat. A lot of you are watching on the app. If you could, please get that Revival Today app, free to download. Next. The entire media apparatus declared the same. No person is above the law. So they arrest this judge, and they're saying how out of line it is to arrest a judge. Meanwhile, they arrest the president, and all the same people are saying no one's above the law. Roll it.
The idea that no person is above the law is a bedrock principle of American justice.
No man is above the law, no matter what the crime.
And I agree with you. No man is above the law, and no person is above the law.
No one is above the law.
No one is above the law.
No one's above the law.
No one is above the law.
No man is above the law.
Nobody is above the law.
No one is above the law.
No man is above the law.
He has to be held accountable. He's not above the law.
No one's above the law. Either that nor any other title puts you above the rule of law.
No one is truly above the law.
That is what it means to have a rule of law. That is what it means to not have a king.
They're not above the law.
Nobody is above the law.
Everyone will be treated, as Merrick Garland has said, as equally.
That no one is above the law, which is foundational.
No one is above the law, even a former president.
We have one set of laws in this country, and they apply to everyone.
No one is above the law.
The law is the law, and no one should be above it.
Yes, nobody is above the law.
No one is above the law.
No one else is above the law, including a president.
Nobody is above the law. You can't have two justice systems in America. It has to be one justice system. And anybody who breaks the law should be held accountable.
And that no one is above the law.
No one is above the law, and our president is not above the law.
I always thought that this country, that no one was above the law. Especially the president.
You're right. So if you're going to play that way, then don't whine when judges get elected. You raided Trump's house and went through Melania's underwear drawer. So shut up. Next. Texas needs to listen. Glenn Beck exposes CAIR's real role in America. This is who is being allowed to host Capitol Day at your state capitol. So here is the outrage that Islam is taking over Texas. I'm going to hear about it, and then I think most of you know how I feel about it. Roll it.
Big deal. Let me just remind you who CAIR is before we get into this. We have the court case. I have someplace in this pile of papers, the actual court case from the United States of America versus the Holy Land Foundation. What we found out in this case for the very first time is there was an elaborate scheme that was launched by the Muslim Brotherhood to tip American sentiment, policy, and money in support of Hamas. It was officially designated by the United States government a foreign terrorist organization. Now, if anyone doubts whether the Muslim Brotherhood had a role in the creation of Hamas or if they advocated for violence, all you have to do is look at the Hamas Charter. Article 2 states, quote, the Islamic resistance movement, which in Arabic would be Hamas, is one of the wings of the Muslim Brothers in Palestine. The Muslim Brotherhood movement is a world organization, the largest Islamic movement in the modern era. Okay, so we know that the Muslim Brotherhood was involved. It's a wing. It's a wing. That's it. But it's a peace movement, right? The Muslim Brotherhood is a peace movement. Well, Article 13 says, and I quote, peace initiatives, the so-called peaceful solutions, and the international conferences to resolve the Palestinian problem are all contrary to the beliefs of the Islamic resistance movement. There is no solution to the Palestinian problem except by jihad. Oh. Okay, so the Muslim Brotherhood created Hamas very specifically to fight Jews and to destroy Israel in Palestine. But they also created a Hamas support group, and they've done this all over the world. Now, the reason why they put this support group together...
What is Glenn Beck now? He was Mormon. He's been all over the religious map. Does anybody know what he is currently? I think he left Mormonism, but I can't remember for sure. Keep going.
It's to find money to support the fight, but also influence other countries to change their policies on Israel and to support Hamas. The Muslim Brotherhood quickly moved to the United States and set up one of these networks. Now, they set up three things. The Muslim Brotherhood in the United States established what is called the Palestine Committee. The Palestine Committee was broken up into three parts. They had to create a think tank, the United Association for Studies and Research. So they had a think tank. Then they had the Islamic Association of Palestine. That was in charge of propaganda.
I didn't know that, Kevin.
Then they needed a fundraising arm to be able to channel money over to Hamas. That's why they created the Holy Land Foundation, known as the Fund. So the propaganda arm became CAIR. It was created by the Muslim Brotherhood Palestinian Committee, and all of this is in court documents. It was created as a tool for the Islamic Association of Palestine by three men, Nihad Awad, Omar Ahmad, and Rafiq Jabbar. Awad and Ahmad were both caught via wiretap from the FBI in an infamous meeting called the Philly meeting. This is where law enforcement were able to verify that the Palestine Committee, the U.S.-based Muslim Brotherhood, was discussing how they were going to continue to support Hamas and how they used these organizations to do it. In the official FBI court documents, it is annotated who was at that meeting, and both men who started CAIR were attending that meeting. In fact, they were key speakers at that meeting. Ahmad was the person that actually set the meeting up and led the opening remarks. These are the founders of CAIR. It is absolutely indisputable with federal documents that CAIR is Hamas. And Nihad Awad continues to lead CAIR to this day.
So they're saying, and then that Amy Mack, Islam is taking over Texas. They'll show more. There's a map they're showing about how many mosques are in Dallas. Count them. There's like less than 50 on the map. Do you know how big Dallas is? I'll tell you, if you want to get in perspective, then somebody, we're going to show this later on in the broadcast, somebody should make the same video with how many churches there are in Dallas. And it would put things into perspective because it's not close. 5.5 million people in a city area. It'd be like saying Dallas is turning vegan because you can find like 40 vegan restaurants. No, it's not. Next. Here it is. Dallas, Texas. These are not Starbucks. Is this a picture or a video? Yeah. Okay, so there's all the mosques. That is a massive area. That's not Evansville, Indiana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41 is what I count. Whoop-de-doo. And then you do understand that's any place that identifies as a mosque. It's not like those are all the palatial Saudi Arabian mosques. They're like next to a Quiznos and a... what's that crappy wireless that's always in like where there's high crime? Metro PCS. It's like there. So, relax. Next. Far left-wing communist with close ties to Reid Hoffman incites mass terrorism against Republicans and Christians. Roll it.
In the times upon which history turns. Never before in my life have I called for mass protests, for mobilization, for disruption. But I am now. These Republicans cannot know a moment of peace. They have to understand that we will fight their cruelty with every megaphone and microphone that we have. We must castigate them on the soapbox and then punish them at the ballot box.
Pause. So the reason this is making such a stir is because you already had Trump shot once, and then he was almost shot a second time. And after all that, from inciting people, speech like this that works people up so much that they want to kill the president. Because again, if you call him a Nazi and Hitler, if someone's actually a Nazi or Hitler, what's the right response? To kill them. So it's not soft language. If you call somebody that and you keep telling people you can't give them a moment's peace, you need to confront them wherever you find them, then that leads to getting shot in the head like happened to Trump. So it's one thing if you did that before the assassination attempt, and man, I didn't realize people were going to take it that seriously. Well, now you realize. and you're still up there fatfully saying the same stuff. Keep going.
They must feel in their bones that when we survive this shameful episode of American history with our democracy intact, because we have no alternative but to do just that, that we will relegate their portraits to the museum halls reserved for tyrants and traitors.
Next. Check us out. 4 locations, Revival Today Church, Arizona, Saturday, 10 a.m. at the Hilton Phoenix Tapatio Cliffs Resort. Revival Today Church, Los Angeles, Saturday at 6 p.m. at Angelus Temple. I would throw Angelus Temple in on any graphic for Revival Today Church. It's a historic church. It'd be worth saying rather than just the address. Because if you type it in, it comes up. Revival Today Church, Fort Worth, 9 a.m., 7200 Denton Highway, Watauga, Texas. And Revival Today Church, Pittsburgh, 8 a.m. and 10 a.m., 107 Patton Drive, Coraopolis, Pennsylvania. Find the one that's closest to you. I would love to see you this weekend. I really would. Next. Trump's border stats. This is our friend, Pastor Tom Lapley. Roll it.
Just released 99.9% at the border now. It was 96%. Now it's 99.9% closed. Best number ever reported. 3 people got in. 3. Listen, remember how I always have said for the last 4 years, the 15 days to flatten the curve? I keep saying that doesn't count gotaways. This counts gotaways. You know why? Because there are no gotaways. There are none, but I thought we needed a comprehensive border bill and that this has been a systemic problem for many years and it will require a bipartisan, comprehensive border security bill. No, it doesn't. The laws are already on the books. Do we need to have a bipartisan bill to ban murder? No, it's already on the books. You're not allowed to murder. Best number ever recorded. 3 people got in versus hundreds of thousands in the last administration. Joe Biden averaged 200,000 to 400,000 a month. Now 3 people got in. There has never been so much of a difference before. Congratulations, America.
Next. The goal here is to bring, okay, so this was a meeting I was looking forward to. 8:30 this morning, our favorite gay guy, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, gave a speech about, basically why you shouldn't be afraid about what's happening in the economy. The tariff thing and all of Trump's policies are going to be a major net positive. Roll it.
Again, the goal here is to bring back the high quality industrial jobs to the U.S. President Trump is interested in the jobs of the future, not the jobs of the past. We don't need to necessarily have a booming textile industry like where I grew up again, but we do want to have precision manufacturing and bring that back. And another important, very important function of this that does not get talked about enough is national security. President Trump, his overriding the concern and belief is that economic security is national security is economic security. And we saw during COVID that our supply chains got cut off. And we need to bring back a lot of those supply chains, whether it's in semiconductors, medicines, the steel, and we have to onshore those. So it's a combination of making trade free and fair and remedying this gaping national security hole that he was left with.
Next. This was pretty funny. Happened as I was driving in. This is Stephen Miller telling Fox News that their pollster sucks on Fox News to a Fox News host. Roll it.
It is our opinion that Fox News needs to fire its pollster. And I won't surprise you with that. I don't think you're surprised that I'm saying that. But the Fox News pollster has always been wrong about President Trump. They were the ones that said all summer long that Kamala Harris was going to be the 47th president of the United States. So we don't acknowledge any of that polling.
Great job, Stephen Miller. Fox News does suck. And I respect anybody that will say something like that right to the face of the person on air. Next. Victor Davis Hanson destroys Trump fascism allegations, telling why it's a major problem. It's not even true, and it's wrong to call him a Nazi and Hitler. Roll it.
He's not using the federal government in the way that Joe Biden did. In other words, Joe Biden is not having his house raided right now to see if there's any more classified files. Or he's not, his subordinates are not looking at taking candidates off the ballot in the midterms or in the next presidential election. There's not ongoing cases against potential Democratic rivals by state, local prosecutors. He is not, if anything, he's more transparent. Fascists were not transparent. They got on the balcony once in a while and gave a lecture, but everything was done in secret. I've never seen a president that have cabinet meetings that are broadcast live. And even the leaked the leaked conversation about the Houthis, you saw a lot of different opinion back and forth. And so there is no fascist ideology that anybody detected. But there's a pattern, just to be very quick, in the United States that when a president is a Republican, then he is called a Nazi or a fascist while in office. That's what they did to Ronald Reagan. As soon as he leaves office, and if he were to be succeeded by another Republican, then he is a statesman in comparison to the Nazis. So George Bush was called a digital brown shirt by Al Gore. I think Angela Merkel.
Great information, but too boring of a delivery. Next.
Even John.
And remember that if you're in public speaking, especially if you're a minister or whatever, it's not just the information you're giving out, it's how you give it out. Otherwise, write it down and pass it out as a flyer. If you're going to deliver it, deliver it. Tariff revenue will provide the American people with much needed. Even like that guy. Like, be a writer and have a spokesman. You owe it to the people listening to you to put a freaking effort in. So you mumble into a mic like you just finished your half a bowl of oatmeal for the day. Roll it.
The question is, what is the White House's ultimate objective here? Do you want to have long-term tariff?
You know, Carolyn Levitt opened the press room up yesterday to alternative media, meaning like people like me, Dilly meme team that makes those insane, the Democrats are retards videos. We're in there to ask questions with CNN and everybody. It's a great time to be alive. Continue.
Revenue or deals that might reduce those tariffs?
I think it's a combination of both. So we're going to take in long-term tariff revenue. We put a process in place. We have 18 important trading relationships. We will be speaking to all of those partners, or at least 17 of them, over the next few weeks. Many of them have already come to Washington. What President Trump is referring to is the ability for tariff revenue to give income tax relief. And I think
our favorite gay guy and the tallest gay guy of all time
in the upcoming tax bill. The president campaigned on no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime, and the restoring interest deductibility for autos, for American-made autos. So tariff income could be used for tax relief on all those immediately.
Next. Bethel Church, I'm here all week. April 28th to May 2nd, Monday to Friday, 7 p.m., 946 Bethel Avenue, Sanger, California. That's in the Fresno area. If you're anywhere in California, we had people drive 2 and 3 hours yesterday. I would love to see you. People drove in from Nevada. You can drive down from Oregon. You can come in from anywhere. You can fly here. I would love to see you. Western Canada. Wouldn't it be a bad time to come to California and just escape the election talk for the week? Next. Bessent announces move to make it insanely profitable to bring factories back to America. Full expensing for equipment and buildings. This could be a game changer. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent just revealed a massive new plan. Full expensing for American factories, making it easier and cheaper than ever for companies to bring manufacturing back home. One of the most powerful parts of President Trump's 2017 tax bill was full expensing of equipment. We're going to make that, as President Trump said in his speech to Congress, retroactive to January 20th, and now it's expanding. The other thing we're looking forward to add is full expensing for factories. So if you bring your factory back, you can fully write off the expense of the equipment and the building. Bessent said they're combining this with deregulation, cheap energy, and regulatory certainty, turning America into the greatest destination for domestic and foreign investment. Build in America, pay less taxes, win bigger. The manufacturing boom is just getting started. Take it away, Mr. Bessent.
One of the most powerful parts of President Trump's 2017 tax bill was full expensing of equipment. We are going to make that, as President Trump said in his speech to Congress, that will be retroactive to January 20th. The other thing that we are looking to add is full expensing for factories. So bring your factory back. You can fully expense the equipment and the building. We will couple that with deregulation, cheap energy, and regulatory certainty, and that will continue to make the U.S. the greatest destination for domestic and foreign investment.
Next. Serious complications from abortion pill are 22 times higher than FDA reports. No big deal. Only missed it by 22 times, according to a new study. Next. Does anyone still trust the FDA? Anybody still see the FDA seal on a product and go, you know what, I was add question marks about this, but if they approve it, I'm happy. Pam Bondi's threat isn't empty. I don't know what the threat is, so let's see it. I'm not super impressed by her right now. Bondi vows to prosecute judges who obstruct Trump's. Attorney General Pam Bondi recently discussed on Fox News Channel's America Reports the illegal actions being taken against judges who obstruct efforts to deport illegal immigrants under the Trump administration. She emphasized that these judges would face prosecution for their involvement. Well, she's telling the truth because it's happening. Continue. The discussion began when co-host John Roberts reported on a case in Wisconsin where a judge, Milwaukee County Circuit Judge Hannah Dugan, who's no looker, might I add, she looks like Chris Farley back from the dead in a wig, is accused, and she's from Wisconsin, is accused of assisting an illegal immigrant in avoiding arrest. Federal prosecutors say that Judge Dugan helped a migrant evade the enforcement of federal immigration laws by interfering with ICE officers who were attempting to detain him at the courthouse. This case has raised significant concerns and is still developing. Bondi described the situation as truly horrific. She explained the defendant, who was in court facing charges for domestic violence, had been involved in a violent attack on two individuals. The victims were severely beaten. One man was hit 30 times, choked, and knocked to the ground, while the woman sustained severe injuries. It was like Batman's parents. Next. Bondi described the situation. No, keep going. Once I get to the end, you can flip the page because I'm not preaching. I'm not going to teach on what I read. Despite the brutality of the crimes, the victims were willing to cooperate with the state prosecutor, and they were. Oh, that's nice. So they did beat the crap out of the couple, but they were willing to cooperate with the state prosecutor. So they're not all bad, and they were present in the courtroom during the proceedings. However, the case took a disturbing turn when the big fat judge learned the ICE officers were outside the courthouse, waiting to detain the defendant, who had been deported in 2013 and returned illegally. Upon hearing this, Judge Dugan allegedly left the courtroom, went into the hallway, and confronted the immigration officers, visibly upset. Probably hadn't eaten in a little while. She then instructed them to leave. They should have just given her a couple of mozzarella sticks and some marinara sauce, and they would have calmed the situation down. Instead, now it escalated to this. She then instructed them to leave and meet with the chief judge, returning to the courtroom afterward. Bondi revealed that the judge took the defendant and his defense attorney aside, using a private exit to allow them to leave, effectively allowing the criminal to evade ICE arrest, leaving the victims and the prosecutor behind. When asked about her reaction to such judicial obstruction, Bondi responded with a firm message. We are going to prosecute you, and we are prosecuting you. Okay. Oh, Bondi, yes. She expressed disbelief upon learning of the judge's actions, noting that the incident was so egregious that they investigated it thoroughly. She wouldn't believe that a judge would help someone that's a criminal evade arrest. I mean that is hard to believe. Bondi clarified that the judge was like, you run, I'll block the doorway by turning sideways and wedging myself into it. Bondi clarified that the judge, who is now in custody, could not be allowed to obstruct the law with impunity. The Attorney General emphasized that no one, including judges, is above the law. Do you know they are above the law? I don't know. She warned that harboring fugitives or helping them avoid arrest, particularly those illegally in the country, would lead to serious consequences. We'll find you, Bondi declared, stressing the importance of holding those who assist illegal immigrants accountable. Are you listening, Adalis' family? Bondi's strong statement serves as a clear warning to those who might think they can defy the rule of law and obstruct immigration enforcement. She reiterated that her office would continue to pursue legal action against anyone who aids criminals in evading justice, underscoring the Trump administration commitment to making America safer through strict law enforcement. I don't know how you can know who's the president of the United States, who is head of the Department of Justice, head of the FBI, and think because a liberal judge in Wisconsin, who you think is going to protect you? Your little skinny governor, Tony Evers? It's a new day. If you're going to try to play it like Biden's still in charge, you're going to go to jail. I'd stop keying Teslas. I'd stop burning things. I'd stop harboring fugitives. It's back to law and order. Next. Source familiar with the details tells Jerusalem Post the U.S. administration was briefed before the strike in Beirut. Breaking, Israel has struck the site where Hezbollah precision missiles were stored. Mossad, Israel's special forces, has so infiltrated Lebanese government, Iranian government, they know everything. So they waited till the missiles were delivered, know exactly where they're storing them, and then this happens. Roll it. That's right. Should have sprinkled some pork over it. Great job, Mossad. Next. Oh, Dallas, a Puerto Rican in West Virginia? Dallas, keep your head on a swivel. Center Branch Church, 2301 Meadowbrook Mall Road, Bridgeport, West Virginia. Our good friend, Pastor Luke Bruger, May 16th, Friday at 7 p.m. This lady is in demand. I have my fingers crossed that she quickly passes me up and I go into hiding in the mountains of Arizona, never to be seen again. Next. Michelle Obama says Trump's deportation policy keeps her up at night, despite the fact that her husband deported more people than any other president. Remarkable. President Barack Obama deported a whopping 3 million illegal immigrants, demolishing the competition. Quote, there's so much bias and so much racism and so much ignorance, so much racism in America that a black man was elected president. And a black man is first lady, arguably. I don't believe that, but there are people that believe that. I worry for people of color all over this country. I don't know that we will have the advocates. Yes, she loves people of color. That's why they moved to Martha's Vineyard, Massachusetts. Basically the Harlem of New England. I don't know that we will have the advocates to protect everybody, and that frightens me. It does. Keeps you up at night in Martha's Vineyard in Hawaii. You love black people so much you move to where there's no black people. The only place there's less black people is an Assemblies of God church choir. Roll it.
Couldn't be. We couldn't walk around saying valedictorian, straight A student, speaks excellent, has excellent diction if you give them a chance. Mm-hmm. We knew very early on that no one was going to see beyond the color of our skin at an early age. And
you were First Lady of the United States.
I mean, when you talk about that fear, I'm sure that fear has been tested across your life in so many different places.
It's been a real struggle living in the White House.
What would you say is
and before that, the Senate?
Hardest recent test.
What a racist country.
Because it's not one of those fears that you kind of get over and it just goes away. It kind of shows its head in many different ways, I imagine.
Well, in this current climate for me, it's, what's
Pause.
happening to immigrants.
Only in America. Now listen, I'm not saying that black people haven't been discriminated against a lot, but of anyone to make the case, it's not her or her sister there. I mean, you were the president. America's so racist. We were, and you won the election in a landslide over an old white guy. I'm not saying there's no racism, but if somebody's going to point it out, it's not you. We've just been so discriminated against. I can't even tell you how hard it was for us to buy our $26 million home in Hawaii. We almost didn't have enough to buy the second one in Martha's Vineyard. And then our condo in Chicago because of white supremacy. Get out of here. Continue.
It's not the fear for myself anymore.
Brother's got the fun jeans on.
Four-car motorcade.
Who dressed her brother? Michael Scott from The Office?
Michelle Obama. I do still worry about my daughters in the world, even though they are somewhat recognizable. So my fears are for what I know is happening out there in streets all over the city.
Pause.
And now that we have leadership.
Are your daughters in the streets? Just walking around the streets? Like your daughters are girlfriends, MS-13 guys? They're in Harvard, aren't they? I think they're going to be all right in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Not a lot of gang violence, not a lot of drive-bys on the Harvard University campus. And if there were, they'd be by Chinese engineering students that found a new way to do it better. Keep going.
That is sort of indiscriminately determining who belongs and who doesn't. And we know that those decisions aren't being made with courts and with due process and, that it's being made.
I'm telling you,
like
I would have no problem if a guy from Memphis had a podcast, black guy, and was saying, like, you don't know how hard it's been growing up in America in Section 8 housing in Memphis. I'm all ears. But you, shut up. You know what? While she's at it, I'm going to do a live video from my Falcon 900 private jet talking about the challenges of being in the ministry. It just doesn't gel. Keep going.
This cop that pulled my brother over when he was 12, you don't look like somebody.
Pause. Maybe the cop pulled your brother over because he was 12, not because he was black, and you're not really supposed to be driving when you're 12, no matter what color you are. You even hear the words that are coming out of your mouth? Back it up.
That those decisions aren't being made with courts and with due process and, that it's being made like this cop that pulled my brother over when he was 12. You don't look like some.
Yeah, re-say that sentence slowly to yourself, and you might understand why your brother got pulled over. What are you pulling me over for? Because I'm black? No, because you're 12. Your voice hasn't changed yet, and you're driving an Oldsmobile. And as a police officer, listen, I'm pro-black, but I have to equally not allow 12-year-olds to drive. Or was he on a bike, and it was a bike cop that signaled him over? I need more details on this story, Michelle. Keep going.
Somebody that belongs. I can determine just by looking at.
He was right. He isn't someone that belongs in the driver's seat of a car. He's 12. It's not a black thing. See, if you view everything through a racist lens, then you think people are being racist. Like, for example, if I was under the predisposition that we lived in an extremely racist country, well, I'm white, but if I was black, I would think people are being racist to me all the time. But they just don't like me for me because I'm white. But you need like a test group to see whether it's just an angry person. I'm mistreated by waitresses or hostess, seat other people before me. I would be like if I was, oh, okay, so you sat the white couple before me and my family, but I'm a white person too, so now it's just, oh, she's a jerk. I think you would find that it's not that people are racist so much as they don't like anybody. They're just miserable people. Keep going.
That you're a good person or you're not a good person. And knowing that there's so much bias and so much racism and so much ignorance that fuels those kind of choices, I worry for people of color all over this country. And I don't know that we will have the advocates to protect everybody. And that frightens me. It keeps me up at night. And I know that I see that.
I'm calling bullcrap. I just don't picture her laying awake. Michelle, are you still up? What's wrong? Get some sleep. Just thinking about all the racism that goes on around the Martha's Vineyard area of Massachusetts. Hold on a second. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How about you?
Pretty good. Why would it be hypocritical for somebody that says they're concerned about the black community? What questions does it raise that they've chosen to live in Martha's Vineyard, Massachusetts? Are you really that concerned about the black community if you're living in a place that arguably has the least black people outside of northern Finland?
Some might see it as contradictory if someone advocates for the well-being of the black community, but chooses to live in a predominantly wealthy, predominantly white area like Martha's Vineyard. It raises questions about how closely they're connected to the community they claim to support. Are they actively engaging with and understanding the challenges that community faces, or are they removed from it? It doesn't necessarily mean they aren't concerned, but it does prompt...
Oh, running out of battery. I agree, ChatGPT. Keep going.
When I'm driving around LA, I'm just looking in the faces.
You're driving around LA? Where? Rodeo Drive?
And I'm wondering,
pause. You're so full of crap. Why doesn't this host push back on anything? Hey, just real quick, what parts of LA do you drive around? You in Koreatown? You in Chinatown? You in Watts? You're in Compton? Because I got a feeling you're in Rodeo Drive. Beverly Hills, Beverlywood, and there's not a lot of disaffected black people, disenfranchised. Where are you driving in LA that you're just seeing the faces of black people and your heart's breaking and crying? I'm calling bullcrap, Michelle. For the record, I think you are a woman. Keep going.
You feel standing on the bus stop? How do you feel comfortable going to work, going to school, when you know that there could be people out?
What are you talking about? Black people don't feel comfortable on the bus? There's no black people that take the bus? Just white supremacists? It's all shaved head white people, and then you get on the bus as a black person and go, uh-oh. I think you got plenty of black people on the bus. Lots of people on the bus. Keep going.
Here judging you and who could upend your life in a second.
Oh my God, pause. This is how you know she hasn't seen another black person other than her brother/sister in like 25 years, because all her examples are outdated. The bus, you know, I would say a lot of cities it'd be majority black on the bus. If anything, as a white person, you might feel a little out of place. You're using examples from Rosa Parks because you haven't seen another black person. Even your host is like Bengali or something. Keep going.
That's who I worry for right now.
Yeah, I'm not buying it. Next. Oh, what a nice transition. Family Worship Center. Come, if you'd love to come hear me preach after that tirade. Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Not next week, the week after. Tates Creek Road, 6020 Tates Creek Road, Lexington, Kentucky. You can register at revivaltoday.com/events. That's my first time to Lexington, Kentucky. Looking forward to it. Next. Haters will say this is photoshopped. There's Trump meeting with Zelensky. Next. Trump didn't lose Canada. The Conservatives foolishly botched it by making the election about Trump instead of liberals. Canada's issues weren't caused by Trump. They are a result of a decade of liberal mismanagement. The CPC blew it, and Canada will suffer. Next. Colin Roog, massive power outages in Europe. So I'm not going to play the video, but I mean, when they're trying to get everybody to give up their cars and go to mass transportation, your one power grid getting knocked out from your life being over. Move to the country, buy a diesel truck, and do everything the opposite of what they tell you. Or you end up like these people in Portugal and Spain. Next. Who is the top ace in baseball right now? Okay, if you don't care about baseball, then you should leave the country. You should self-deport. It's America's pastime. We are living in a time in baseball right now with generational pitching talent, particularly Tarek Skubal from Detroit. I believe he's in Detroit. And then Paul Scanes in Pittsburgh and a bunch of others. Roll it.
Pitch strike 16. He gave up just 4 hits. He struck
Let me
out
tell you this too.
Average.
This crew on Major League Baseball that does the morning show is the least woke, coolest group of hosts ever. The two guys will team up and make fun of the woman. She laughs, doesn't get offended. It is like opposite ESPN, opposite CNN, better than Fox. It's one of the few channels you can leave on in your house and never feel like throwing or kicking something. Continue.
Four-seam fastball velo, almost 99 miles per hour.
He's a complete stud. I asked AJ Hinch about him. He said, because some of the best, you have to have an ego to be the best, right? You have to be different. He said he wants to be coached and he wants the truth. Yeah. He's a complete stud. Well, every facet of the game.
Let me ask you this, because we got ball or strike a little bit later, but a little mini ball or strike. Ball or strike, Tarek Skubal is the best #1 pitcher in the game right now.
He always goes back to the baseball card, Wheeler. That's what I know how your mind works.
I'm going to shock you right here. Based on what I saw Friday night in Dodger Stadium.
Skeens.
I'd probably.
So that's a ball for you. You like Skeens a little bit better.
I think back in edit, I was asking this question, and they were all on Skeens.
That's Mark DeRosa talking. He's great.
I would say this. Watching Tarek Skubal pitch the entire 2024 and into this year, especially against Baltimore over the weekend, he's doing it with 2 pitches, a 98 to 100 mile an hour heater, and one of the most devastating changeups I've ever seen. And he's doing it with the mean on. He's ultra confident. He's owning the mound. Yeah. It's like it's everything's happening on his terms. The pitcher controls the flow and rhythm of the game, good, bad, or indifferent. And this guy is controlling. Comerica's his when he's on the mound. It's pretty incredible. And Baltimore's got a nice offense. I know they've gotten off to a tough start and they're struggling, making everyone wonder what the heck's going on over there. But this guy just shoved it.
Yeah.
You know, Robert.
We know.
You know. With 2 pitches. And you see since
What's
2023,
FIP? I know what whip
I mean,
is.
First or second down the line.
Walks and hits plus what's FIP?
Man,
seen
you
that
can't go wrong with either one. I'd say Skeens for me if I'm handing the ball to somebody right now based on what I saw Friday night, but good night.
I don't even want to choose.
When Scooble screams into his glove when he gets off the mound.
So Detroit's
Lauren
the class of the
Shahadi, she's
American
great.
Is that what we're saying?
I think that is a valid
You got
argument
FIP?
that the Tigers are the best team in
Think
the
about
American
that
League.
statement and think about saying it 2 years ago.
It's
When you get a
marketing.
chance, pop it up on the screen so I can learn what FIP is along with everybody else. Next. Oh, subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you're watching right now and you've not subscribed, please do that. It'll make me happy as we head up towards 100,000 subscribers. Next. If the Daily Wire wanted to make a good documentary, do one on the 2 women who were chosen by politicians to fly F-14s. One woman quit because she said they were giving her passing grades when she wasn't passing, and the other woman turned into paste on a carrier deck a month later. So the New York Times story on the January D.C. plane crash hides its takeaway until the last sentence. The lady helicopter pilot ignored multiple warnings from her right seat about altitude and his directly telling her to turn away and flew straight into a passenger jet. I knew when they reported that accident and they didn't mention who the pilot was, it was a woman. Because if it was a guy, they'd have said it right away. Always when they're quiet, you know, like it's what you think. Next. FIP stands for Fielding Independent Pitching. It's a baseball statistic that estimates a pitcher's effectiveness on preventing runs, focusing only on outcomes they can control: strikeouts, unintentional walks, hit by pitches, and home runs allowed. It intentionally removes the effects of defense and luck. FIP is home runs plus walks and hit by pitch minus strikeouts divided by innings pitched plus constant. Interesting. Next. So lower's better. Productive week at the White House. Take it away, new best friend Carolyn Levitt.
Hello, everybody. It has been a very productive week here at the White House, so let's roll through it for the MAGA Minute. The President and the First Lady hosted the annual Easter egg roll with more than 40,000 guests in attendance from across the country. The President welcomed a group of wounded veterans and heroes into the Oval Office and met with the Prime Minister of Norway at the White House. It was also another big week for investments in the United States. Bayer, Chevron, Coinbase, Roche, Toyota, GM, and Chobani all announced investments in the United States, opening offices and pouring billions of dollars into creating businesses and American jobs. And a major win for the MAHA movement, Secretary of Health and Human Services Kennedy announced that 8 artificial food dyes would be phased out of medication and food by the end of 2026. Attorney General Pam Bondi launched a task force to eradicate anti-Christian bias from our institutions. Our border continues to be the most secure it has ever been in our nation's history.
3
with the
people
Wall Street
got
Journal
through.
even touting our
Congratulations.
massive
They should find who the 3 people are and
Next
make them
week
green
marks
berets.
100 historic days of the Trump administration. We have a lot in store for you, so stay tuned, and we'll see you for next week's MAGA Minute.
No, it's mostly good, but why do I get the feeling the quality of Mexican food in the country is going to go down the toilet? Next. I have some guy named like Bill cooking my burrito. Why isn't the media reporting on the fact that President Trump just gave Western North Carolina a mind-blowing $1.4 billion? Roll it.
Trump administration is approving more than $1 billion in federal funding to help rebuild in Western North Carolina. The Department of Housing and Urban Development is giving the grant to help rebuild homes in the region following Hurricane Helene. The governor's office says this kind of grant is typically focused on long-term rebuilding plans rather than immediate needs for shelter. Officials say the next steps for the state is to be given financial control of the funds from the HUD department, allowing the state to sign the grant and begin issuing the money.
And if you've ever seen Western North Carolina before the floods, it basically looked the same. Next. Truth and Triumph. Oh, I'm heading back there. That's great. My friend Pastor Michael, May 26th through May 30th, Monday to Friday, 7 p.m. That's in Redlands, California. Spending a lot of time in old California this year, like last year. Next. John Told. Just a quick tip about Canadian elections. There are no moderate parties in Canada. You just have a pretty liberal party on one end, ranging to extremely insanely liberal on the other. Is that true, Canadians? Or is he overstating it? Next. Senator Rand Paul says this prick has the votes to block Trump's tariffs in the Senate, though the move could be blocked by Speaker Johnson. What's your problem, Rand Paul? We didn't vote for you for president. Take your little curly gelled hair and just get in line. Next. Jeffrey Epstein had a massive ranch where young girls were flown in. This is why I'm a little hesitant on Pam Bondi. Because, again, you said you were going to do this in 72 hours, and here we are. There's nothing. Jeffrey Epstein had a massive ranch where young girls were flown in. This is where he had his baby-making factory. Baby factories are used for breeding undocumented children, used for sex and organ harvesting, as well as satanic rituals. You know, I'm against all three of those things. It even had a private runway for his plane, the Lolita Express. Prince Andrew and numerous celebrities, politicians, and world leaders visited the ranch. Epstein even had an X-rated portrait of nude, I can't remember how you say her first name, Maxwell, with her legs wide open as the centerpiece of an underage party pool. Epstein's Zorro Ranch. You know, the more I hear about this guy, the more I don't like him. Epstein's Zorro Ranch had computer rooms the size of houses to spy on guests, including Prince Andrew, victim claims. The ranch measured 33,339 square feet. That's like 10 of your homes. And sat on 10,000 acres. There it is. Where's the list, Pam? Where's the names, Miss Pam? I'm glad you arrested Judge Miss Chris Farley, but let's get on this, huh? Next. Man films himself riding a zip line. Okay, so you remember the Pakistanis attacked Indians in the, I think it's in the Kashmir region of northern India? It's going on under his zip line while he selfies himself flying over top of it, completely unaware that there's like a terror attack taking place in real time below him. Roll it, this idiot. Meanwhile, somebody's at a 7-Eleven having the man 3 registers at once because this guy wanted to... Look, that's shootings down below and stabbings. Look, that's people lined up to be killed right there. Now enjoy the zip line in your 50s. That's great. Hey, terrorists, you missed one. That's basically a picture of 97% of people that live in the earth. Just selfieing themselves while everything's going down the hill behind them. Next. Let me see the judge. That's Pam Bondi. Dugan is her last name. When you get a chance, get a side-by-side of those two. Next. No, I mean, you can wait on the other thing. Okay, Representative Shri Tenadar, my apologies if I mispronounce your name, files impeachment on Trump over the deportation of an alleged member of MS-13. Roll it.
This is Congressman Shri Thanedar.
This is real.
Donald
this
Trump
is not
has
fake.
already done real damage to our democracy. But defying a unanimous
It's a great wig. You can barely
9-0
tell.
Supreme Court ruling, that has to be the final straw. It's time we impeach Donald J. Trump.
That's a great speech. Can I have a
court
pack
said
of
the
Pall Malls
wrongfully
and a
deported
Slurpee?
Kilmer Garcia must be allowed to return and receive due process. Trump ignored it. He ignored the Constitution. He ignored the very checks and balances that keep our democracy intact. This isn't an isolated incident. It's part of a dangerous, deliberate pattern. That's why today I introduced
Who
a
lost the
resolution
election to this guy in
impeach
Michigan?
Donald J. Trump, outlining 7 articles of impeachment.
Say what you want, but I bet you that guy has like the highest quality rugs in his house you've ever seen. Keep going. I can't believe this is happening in the UK. Well, believe it, because it's happening. Roll it. Not the whole of the UK, but parts of the UK are essentially an Islamic caliphate right now. Next. Okay, there's Dugan. That's the judge in Wisconsin. There's Farley. Can we get a side-by-side? Okay, well, take, okay, there's one. And, you know, I made that joke without seeing this. It looks more like it than I thought. It's in the same outfit. Go again. Hi, Your Honor. And Beverly Hills Ninja. Next. It would be great. Can you imagine? Put the judge back up again. Can you imagine if you were like standing trial for murder and you're like, listen, if I could just say something before we get started, I loved you in Beverly Hills Ninja. What do you mean I have the death penalty? What do you mean I have consecutive life sentences and the death penalty? I was trying to compliment you. You were hilarious. Next. I loved you with David Spade. Revival Today Women's Mentorship, free to join, rtcregister.com. Next. Secretary Rubio asked why Trump hasn't imposed any tariffs on Russia. Roll it.
Given the frustrations that he is voicing, Mr. Secretary, why hasn't he imposed sanctions yet?
Well, because I think we're still hoping to see that this effort works out in diplomacy and that we can bring these two sides closer together. I mean, the minute you start doing that kind of stuff, you're walking away from it. You've now doomed yourself to another 2 years of war, and we don't want to see it happen. I think what's important and really weighs is there is no other country, there is no other institution or organization on the earth that can bring these two sides together. No one else is talking to both sides but us. And no one else in the world can make something like this happen but the president. This is a very significant responsibility and a really important opportunity, and we want to make sure that we work it all the way through, that we don't walk away from something that can actually work or that can actually lead to peace, but we also don't want to continue to spend time on something that's not going to get us there. So throughout this process, it's about determining, do both sides really want peace? And how close are they or how far apart they are after 90 days of effort here, over 90 days of effort. That's what we're trying to determine this week. There are reasons to be optimistic, and there are also reasons to be concerned.
I've never changed my opinion more on someone in all my life than Marco Rubio. I like him now. Hillary Clinton, if they committed a crime, deport them, no questions asked. Oh, so Trump just has the same policies you people had. Roll it.
So I think we got to have tough conditions. Tell people to come out of the shadows. If they've committed a crime, deport them. No questions asked. They're gone.
Meanwhile, Bill's in the back under the bleachers with a 48-year-old from Little Rock.
We should say, here are the conditions for you staying. You have to pay a stiff fine because you came here illegally. You have to pay back taxes. And you have to try to learn English. And you have to wait in line.
Because Bush was letting everybody in. So then they took they're dumb people. Tom Homan takes over the mic to address a reporter's question about the wall. Roll it.
He's clear that Mexico is not going to pay for it? Is that what you're saying?
Tom, try to look more Irish.
Mexico will pay for the wall. They have in a roundabout way, have they not? Putting 10,000 military on the northern and southern border, taking the action they did, remain in Mexico. They didn't have to do that. They're doing it. Putting military on the southern border. Have moved illegal immigration to a record low. We're saving millions of dollars every day on detention, transportation, removal proceedings. We've more than made up for the cost of that wall because of the actions of Mexico. So is Mexico helping build that wall? Yeah, because we're saving so much money, millions of dollars a day, that we can afford to build that wall. So actually, yes, they're helping to build a wall.
Great answer. Guy's smart. Next. The Dems desperately need to import voters to win elections. Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers' administration instructs all state employees to help illegal immigrants avoid ICE. This is how you know. Why are they willing to risk jail time? Because that thing about importing 11 million voters is real. And if they all get deported, they lost the last election with that help. What do you think is going to happen if they lose that help? Good-looking guy, Tony Evers. Next. RTBI fall enrollment. If you feel the call of God on your life in the ministry, please enroll today. Application deadline is July 31st. I would love to have you in our new intake of students in September. Next. Experts warn that a specific brand of Christianity will be prioritized and lead to further dismantling of institutions. How long is this? 7 big ones. We'll save it for tomorrow. But you know why I was going to read this? Because if The Guardian... When you read stuff like this is how you know we're winning. What's the specific kind of Christianity? Our kind. And the enemies are saying it's being prioritized and it's going to dismantle institutions. Well, it's not going to dismantle the family or work institutions. It's going to dismantle your cocaine-fueled gay sex orgies in the White House, that kind of stuff. So tough luck. I'd say suck it, but in context of what we're talking about, it wouldn't be the best choice of words. Next. Janet Mills, another beautiful woman, Democrat governor of Maine. Boy, when you become a Democrat as a woman, you go downhill looks-wise quick, like a Barbie left by a campfire. Her brother allegedly pocketed $22 million into a shell company that was meant for towns in Maine. Roll it.
Janet Mills, the current governor of Maine, a year before she took office, her brother...
Start it again and pause it on that face. The brother is actually prettier than her. Ooh, who lost an election to her? That looks like, I like David Spade. He looks great. But like if David Spade turned to drugs when Chris Farley did and was still alive, that's what I would imagine he looked like. Good God. How'd you run with that face? Keep going.
Governor of Maine, a year before she took office,
Pause.
her brother, Peter Mills...
Can I get a picture of her on a locket to scare Draculas away? Bah! Continue. Brother is prettier than her.
$22 million through a shell company called Western Mountains and Rivers Corporation. This company also received 670 acres of land on the Dead River, all courtesy of a company called Central Maine Power. When Janet Mills assumed office a year later, she immediately approved CMP to clear-cut an 145-mile corridor through Western Maine without the endorsement of any of the localities affected, who were all in major disagreement with the decision. And that $22 million that was supposed to be spent on the towns appears to have been pocketed by this shell company run by Peter Mills, rather than being spent on the people it was actually supposed to. When I reached out to Western Mountains Corp to verify where the funds were spent and the status of the land, my request was ignored, and there exists no information on the firm's website either. This is a clear example of political corruption in the state of Maine and deserves to be investigated further, in my opinion. What do you all think?
Great video. Oh my God. Let me tell you, whatever problems you're having with your wife, work them out, because just think how you could be married to that. Just roll over every morning and have a heart attack. Massive heart attack. Ah! Maybe burkas aren't that bad after all. Next. 2 cities, 1 event. What no eye has seen. Coming up June 29th to July 6th. This is the premier event. If you have not been, you got to be. You got 2 places to go, Fort Worth and Pittsburgh this year. RTCregister.com for details. Next. I see you, real brother. More than 300, skip it. Yeah, there's the mosque. Next. Oh, yeah, here's the video. So play it. Can somebody make one of these for churches and send it in? Go ahead and play it. It's not a lot. I'd have thought there'd have been more. The Dallas-Fort Worth metro area is like bigger. What states is it bigger than? I think it's bigger than Vermont. I think it's bigger than Connecticut. I'm not sure. No, Rhode Island, Vermont, I think, and Delaware. And we counted 41 mosques. I'm not alarmed. So you need to see it in comparison with churches. Next. Next again. Charlie Kirk. Next. Not in the mood. One of the biggest vibe shifts from staffer on up to administration officials is that they don't even care what these outlets say anymore. Most of the time, they don't bother to reply with a comment. This is a sea change from Trump's first term. CNN's full-scale collapse continues rapidly. It reached a remarkable new low led by Caitlin Collins and Abby Phillips. Fewer than 500,000 viewers total in primetime. That's almost impossible to do even if you wanted to. Also, they're well below 100,000 viewers under 55 years old. So CNN and MSNBC are starting to matter so little that when they say stuff, the administration doesn't even reply with a comment. It's over. And now they're getting moved out of the newsroom in favor of new wave media like us. Next. President Trump directly called Amazon founder Jeff Bezos about Amazon tariff labels. Do you hear that? Amazon was going to put that, it broke this morning. They were going to put a label on everything you bought, how much cost was increased because of Trump's tariffs. And Trump personally called Bezos and they announced they're taking it down. And I'll tell you why, I don't know this for sure. That didn't come from Bezos. Bezos has reached out to Trump and wants to cooperate with him, but I'm sure he's got Lib Central on his under-management staff that hate Trump, and that's why it got turned around so quickly. Next. India just slid the U.S. a best friend forever bracelet, offered to ghost China, and promised to pick up the tab on tariffs. Talk about shooting your shot in global trade. That's what happened today. So China's got 1 billion people. India's got 1 billion people. We're at odds with China. India said, hey, we got manufacturing. We got lots of people. We'll help you out. We'll drop tariffs on the U.S. if you drop them with us, and they're going to play ball. Next. I'll take that other. Is that other one for me too, or is it for somebody else? I'm going to keep going. I'll go 2. Day's just getting started. Breakfast number 2. Eat your heart out, RFK Jr. Nothing but artificial dyes. That white stuff on top is called soft top, not a drop of dairy or anything that God made on it. It's basically new generation Cool Whip. China's starting to crack a little bitty. China waives tariffs on U.S. ethane imports. Sounds like something a suburban white couple would name their first son. Ethane? Can you come in? Come in, please. Don't hit your mother. China imports nearly 100% of its ethane supply from the U.S. Oh, China, starting to realize you need us. Next. I'll tell you what, if white rice starts going up in price, I'm going to be ticked off. So will Camila. But I will turn on Trump in a heartbeat if I can't get some Kung Pao chicken for under $4. I'll back whoever's running against him. But Sen asked about China, saying they are not talking to the U.S. We're not going to comment on who is talking to who. I believe these tariffs are unsustainable for the Chinese. They could lose 10 million jobs. Not a lot of jobs when you have 1 zillion people. We buy 5 times as much stuff from them as they buy from us. Next. Can you guys find for me, what is the GDP of China is like 18 trillion. What's the GDP of India? How much lower than China is it? Liberals win Canadian election. Mark Carney to be next Prime Minister of Canada. Sorry, Canada. Next. Amazon says they will not put the tariff adjustment disclaimer on their website products. That's right, you won't. How'd that taste? Next. 24 people have been banned from Carnival Cruise Line after a massive, this is why you will never get me on a cruise. Roll it. Yeah. Not really my idea of a vacation. Why not just vacation at a Memphis gas station? You get the same effect. Next. Oh, Dallas has a great meeting coming up, May 7th through the 9th and the 11th. Radiance Women's Conference 2025. Register today. If you're a lady, it's going to be off the hook. Next.
Do you have praise on your lips? Or that coming out of your lips more in your day? Can I tell you, strongholds are created by things you're holding strongly onto.
Why do I feel like that guy made like a $2,000 bet before the service? I bet you I can vape on stage and not get fired. And may have done it. That's from an Instagram account called Pastors with Props. Why have all pastors decided to be the Carrot Top all of a sudden? Why not just bring a trunk of props up and do your whole thing? If you ever catch me with a prop, please come up on stage and take the podium. If it's one of the heavy ones, you can get somebody to help you. And crown me in the back of the head with it till you see my brains leak onto my dress shirt. Next. A pro-Palestine, pro-Hamas protester in Crown Heights, New York, starts hitting and shoving some Jewish residents from the area, but a group of young adults get together and give him a beating. We like to see this. Roll it. Do you know how hard it is to give somebody a beat down in a crisp white dress shirt with prayer tassels on your belt loop? Extra credit.
Guys, off.
Who's telling them to stop? Come on. Anytime there's a fight, you always got to have one homo. Come on, guys. Guys.
What the hell is wrong with you? So get this down. I'm a journalist. Where are your titties? They're tucked in. Don't touch my stuff. Don't touch my stuff.
Good job, guys. Good luck to that guy ever getting a loan. Next. GDP, China, 17.5 trillion, second largest economy in the world. But remember this, we're 32 trillion divided by 350 million people. They're 17.5 trillion divided by a billion people. So we did that before. It breaks down to 90,000 per person in the US, 13,000 a person or 19,000 in China. So it's still a poor nation. But then India's got 3.7 trillion. That's like less than California, spread across a billion people. So that's poor. Next, I'm not trying to pick on any, I'm just saying they're both similar sized countries. Roll it.
3 seconds. It's time we impeach Donald J. Trump.
Next. Roll it.
Donald Trump has already done real damage to our democracy, but defying a unanimous 9-0 Supreme Court ruling, that has to be the final straw. It's time we impeach Donald J. Trump.
Next. Clear mental palates, Britt Gusmus. I feel like I probably could have got along with alcoholic Britt Gusmus better than born again Britt Gusmus. Father, thank you for everybody who watched today. I pray you'd lift every burden of concern from them and their family. Give them a great day full of your mercies, full of your miracles. In Jesus' name, we thank you for it and give you praise. If you have never received Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, I would like you to do that with me. Do what it says over my back, left shoulder. Have faith. What a nice decoration for this house. Any Christian that buys a home immediately goes to TJ Maxx and more and just raids Bible word things to nail to the wall. Faith, gather. You know these people. Simply blessed. Where'd these people move here from? Georgia? There's no way they're from California. Pray. Pray more, worry less. Faith can move mountains. Oh, I feel like we would get along with these people. Other than with decor. Always have an attitude of gratitude. Where's the too blessed to be stressed? Chiseled into the sheetrock. Father, if you want to receive Jesus Christ, pray this with me. A little bit of a hard transition. Father, thank you for sending Jesus to die on the cross for me. I believe in my heart you raised him from the dead. I confess with my mouth Jesus is Lord. I turn my back on sin. In Jesus' name, amen. If you prayed that prayer, please do what it says on the bottom of the screen. Go to revivaltoday.com and click I just got saved. When you fill that out completely, I'm going to send you a Bible and other materials to help you live the Christian life. And I would love to see you at one of our 4 locations. Arizona Saturday morning, LA Saturday night, Fort Worth Sunday at 9 a.m. I'm there this Sunday, right? Texas at 9 a.m. I'll see you in person in Texas. 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. in Pittsburgh. You'll be with Miss O'Dolly. We're going to have a great time. So pick one of those and get there. Arizona's been off the hook. All the people that have come to the first 2 services in Arizona, thank you. All the great members in Los Angeles, including going soul winning on Skid Row. You're awesome. Fort Worth and Pittsburgh booming. And I can't wait. For this week, I am in Sanger, California, Fresno, California, one of the last churches we did before the lockdown, October of 2019, back almost 6 years later, 5.5 years later, April 28th through May 2nd. That's this week, Monday to Friday at 7 p.m., 946 Bethel Avenue, Sanger, California. Would love to see you. If you would like to help us feed 5,000 children in the morning, most of them the only meal they eat, I'm going to send you this t-shirt for helping to give. Not that t-shirt. It's coming. No. Did you get the picture I sent you? Not it. I'll send it again. There it is. There's Bernie and AOC and Shrek and the donkey. What's the donkey's name? I never watched those movies. His name's Donkey? I can remember that. There's Bernie and AOC and Shrek and the donkey. Our way of saying thank you. Our Christian way of saying thank you for helping us to feed the hungry in some of the poorest nations in the world. That is going to be a great shirt to wear. I'm looking forward to seeing those in meetings as I pray for people. Thanks, Annie from Kansas. I attended a Tulsa 6-night greatest time of my life. That's great. The soup. Oh, did we add the potato soup to the end of the show montage with Jim Baker? You weren't there that week, I don't think. Do you know how to get it? I want that played as we go off the air from now till Jesus comes, because it's one of the funniest things. And I want it played first, even before the construction workers saying it's Trump's time now. So here's the ways to give. Revivaltoday.com, you click Give Now. There's the individual ways to give. Zelle, Venmo, PayPal, #donate on Facebook. You can give cryptocurrency with that QR code. You can text GIVE to 75767. If you would like to mail a large check, Revival Today, P.O. Box 7, Prosperity, Pennsylvania, 15329. Thank you for your seed, and that shirt is a way of saying thank you, and God will bless you for taking care of the poor. I'll see you tonight at 7 o'clock, California time. If you're not in California, service will start 10 p.m. on the East Coast, and then you can do the math for everywhere in between. For myself, all of our great crew that helped make today a reality, thank you for being here. I'll see you tonight. God bless every one of you. The devil is the author of sin. The devil is the author of addiction. The devil's the author of depression. There's not going to be any suicide hotline in heaven. There's no cancer centers in the New Jerusalem. Those things came from the devil. But Jesus didn't just come to forgive our sins and wipe our sins clean. For this reason was the Son of God made manifest, that he might destroy the work of the devil. That's what I want to get on the inside of you tonight. God's not going to help you deal with your problem. God's going to destroy the thing that was sent to destroy you. If I was you, I'd get excited. You're getting set free tonight. Your days of defeat are over in Jesus' name. I'm Jonathan Shuttlesworth, and I've met a lot of pastors on the road that wanted to have a revival, but weren't sure how to go about setting it up. So I wanted to do this video to tell you a couple things. Number one, I'm sure you see somebody flying around in a jet and think, what is the enormous expense to have you come to our church? The answer is, it's zero. Acts 20:34, the Apostle Paul said, I've always taken care of my expenses and the expenses of those who travel with me. We have no minimum requirements. We have no honorarium. Our team is taken care of by us. We book our own hotels. I've done that my whole traveling ministry. All we do is receive a love offering as Paul instructed in the Bible. That's it. We're not under any financial pressure, and we don't put you under any financial pressure. Secondly, what I do is a little different than what a lot of other traveling ministries do. We don't do conferences, and we don't do ticketed events. I don't generally do one-night meetings. I like revivals. I like seeing a church explode with the power of God. Sinners get saved. As the week goes on, sinners bring more people. And really, you can see 10 years years of church work accomplished in 1 week of a strong revival meeting. That's what I like to see done. I don't care about the size of the church. I care about seeing God hit the place. And whatever you start with, seeing it multiply. So what does it take for me to come to your church if you're interested? An invitation. So the information for an invitation is on the screen. I look forward to hearing from you, genuinely. If you're a pastor and you want to see God shake your region, I will partner with you in that. I want to see that happen. So I'll look forward to hearing from you and meeting you this year.
This is the time of your rapid acceleration in the face of the devil. The devil's going to find out that 2,000 years ago, he got his butt kicked on the cross of Jesus Christ. We have the victory. His name is victory. Victory.
You have to fight a socket. You have to fight a socket. When people think you are finished, you are just beginning. When you sacrifice, it shuts the mouth of the devil. Shout, he is my Jesus. He's my healer. Something is about to happen.
You gotta believe that you're fully equipped. You gotta believe that you have everything pertaining to life and godliness. You gotta believe that you've got joy. You gotta believe that you've got healing. You gotta believe that you've got strength. Because if God intervenes, that's all I need.
From the very beginning, life has been written in blood, a scarlet thread running through history, declaring life, redemption, and victory. We were lost, drowning in the darkness of our sin, carrying burdens we couldn't unload, weighed down by the guilt no human effort could ever erase. But then came Jesus, the promised sacrifice, the Lamb of God. On a hill, the cross stood tall, and from it, he poured his life for us. His blood, perfect, innocent, unblemished, was shed willingly. That brutal, horrific moment became the most victorious act in all of history. This blood doesn't just cover our sin, it obliterates it. It doesn't just forgive, it transforms. It invades the darkest corner of our lives, shouting hope where there was none, and injecting strength into the weary. Every drop proclaims freedom, healing, and resurrection life. Through the blood of the Lamb, we are no longer slaves to sin, no longer victims of our past. We are transformed.
I'm going to eat some more of this if you're not careful. Oh. Oh, good. Oh, my God. You didn't have lunch, right?
Wow.